And last in the range of the Cascade pumps is the Cascade 4000. It's the largest one of the range they do. We'll get this out of the box. Looking at the fittings that come with this, it is the same to all intents and purposes to look at as the Cascade 1500. It's only actually the capacity of the pump inside the case that is any different to them. The fittings are the same on those. Same 10 metres of cable, same 3-year guarantee. This one, however, it does turn over 880 gallons an hour. That's at a 0 head. Get this out. As we can see with this, it does come with the standard 2 fountain heads. Less holes, higher spread, more holes, lower spread, but wider. And those. The barrel jet that we've mentioned before. The 1-inch hose tail, again 1 inch 25mm internal diameter on the pipe that you use. T-piece for regulating the flow between the fountain head and from the secondary outlet, which would run to your waterfall. Most of the time you run it to your filter, then out of the filter into the waterfall. The self-adjusting part of the T-piece, they attach to each other like that. This then attaches to the top of the pump. And we mentioned with all the other pumps on there, if the bottom of the pond does happen to be uneven, then you can self-adjust by that. Quite a secure fit. The telescopic fountain head adjuster attaches on like that. Adjusting the height, when you get the correct height, turn that nut then to lock it, and that will keep that in place. The barrel jet we've mentioned before with the adjustment. Sometimes with the barrel jets, if you adjust it too much, you can take this piece out. It's nothing to worry about. Just simply pop the top back in, pop that back into there, done. Onto there, and then your adjustments. Adjusting the flow onto these two again to get the correct effect. Your 1-inch hose tail attaches onto the side. And that's how you assemble the Cascade 4000. As I said a few seconds ago, it's exactly the same to look at as a Cascade 1500. It's only the actual turnover that is different to it. Get this off and then we'll have a look inside it. Again, case splits into the middle. Should notice a slight difference in the pump. If you do handle the Cascade 1500 and the 4000, you'll notice you can actually feel the weight difference in them. The impeller valve covers turns off. There's 2 locating lugs either side. And that comes off the front. And the impeller again. Different style of impeller onto these ones, so it can actually handle more flow, more turnover. Everything else is kind of the same with those. Rubber stoppers at the end and the ceramic shaft on the inside. Maintenance on these, again, make sure there's no debris inside the well cover inside where the impeller goes. Give the impeller a clean over, make sure there's no debris or dirt on there and everything is clear, which this one is. Pop in. There's a seal ring just around the inside of this when you do put the well cover back on. Make sure that's correct and in place. It should always be assembled back like that with the outlet facing up and the cable at the bottom. This will ensure that you actually get it into the correct position when you put it back into the cage. When you put it back in the cage, locate it back in. Cable again, making sure it is attached at the back, everything's fine, and it goes back into the locator at the back of the pump. Pump clip back together, and that is how you disassemble and take apart and maintain a Cascade 4000. I said, well, this is the largest one in the range, and it is more than capable of running a decent sized fountain head and a reasonable sized waterfall as well. That was the Cascade 4000. That covers all the key points of each individual pump. As an overall view, as you may have noticed from looking at some of the pumps before, you'll notice there are no moulded plugs on these. Pond pumps are exempt from having to have a moulded plug on. So if you receive your pump and there's no plug on there, don't worry, That is standard. You won't invalidate the guarantee by getting an electrician out to put a plug on there for you. We do recommend any installation of any electrics into the garden, kind of anywhere really, you get a qualified electrician to do that for you. That's what they're paid to do, to keep you safe. So always consult a qualified electrician when involved in electrics. On the subject of electrics, when you are doing any maintenance on the pumps, turn the power off. Always isolate the power completely, just to be on the safe side. So before you start taking pumps out of the pond, make sure you do turn the electrics off on that. Regarding spares for all these pumps, we have a comprehensive range of spares, from the smallest part to the largest part. The bulk motor is not listed as a spare part, it's the main cost of the pump. But everything else, from fountain heads, T-pieces, hose tails, we carry those, and they're all available on our website, which is www.gardensite.co.uk. Kind of covers most of the things on there. All the pumps, we said before, have a 3-year guarantee, 10 metres of cable. Regarding the cable, when you are taking the pump out of the pond, always use the handles provided, or reach in and get them. These ones don't, the smaller one doesn't have a handle because it's usually meant for smaller ponds, so reaching in isn't too much of a problem. With the other ones, handles are provided, so ideally always use those on there. As I mentioned on a few occasions, cages on the front of these, they're not a filter for your water, they're a filter for the pump. So it stops the pump from sucking anything in that can actually damage the impeller system on there. It's not actually a water filter. So you will need, if you are intending to filter the water, you need a separate filter system. These pumps will then pump the water into that filter system. That will help to filter the water. They'll only handle very small, fine debris, not large things. These are not solid handling pumps. We will cover the solid handling pump range from Hozelock in one of our next videos. And that kind of covers all the key points. Thank you for watching a video by GardenSite.co.uk. Thanks.